Give you a chance? Are you kidding? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Project Veritas, which is not worthy of its name, 2 days after James O'Keefe effectively conceded his ouster from that firm, now is begging people to stay. This demonstrably includes its donors, large and small, and followers, and might also include significant numbers of staff. I just have one question for Project Veritas. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, do you think you're kidding? Am I angry? You bet I am. I don't suffer fools gladly, and still less do I suffer liars. And I definitely do not suffer those who insult my intelligence. And I'm going to break it down for you to the last bloody, gory detail. But before I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I've chosen for today, which reads, "Do not bear false witness." Simple as. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, so long as it's legal tender. Now then. At 9:01 a.m. Eastern Time yesterday, I got this in my inbox. I'm going to leave a link in the description to a tweet someone shared of the copy he got. It's the image of text, and that's why it has the Project Veritas label on it, the letterhead on it. I'm going to read it to you, but before I do, I want to say a few words. I am not in the habit of reading out loud every letter I get, but Jack Posobiec got one too, even earlier, and he put his own summary out in his publication, The Post-Millennial. I have a link in the description to his tweet, linking to his article. Poso evidently teased out from the copy he got something I did not know, or maybe my copy was redacted. The composer of this letter is one Bethany Rolando, one of 16 disgruntled employees who tried to get James O'Keefe fired earlier. The 16 allegedly sent a letter to the board detailing a whining litany of trivial gripes against James O'Keefe. Sorry, just had to get at it. Did any of you read The Caine Mutiny by Herman Welk? A whining collection of trivial gripes is what the Board of Inquiry calls Lieutenant Marrick's medical log on Lieutenant Commander Queeg, when Lieutenant Marrick is facing court-martial for relieving Queeg of command in the middle of a typhoon. And let me say at the outset, James O'Keefe is no Captain Queeg. He is not even a Captain Blood. He is a demanding boss who demands results because he has to deliver results to people like me who depend on him to get me scoops like the Pfizer incident. Speaking of which, in the only positive content from this email, Project Veritas included a link to a video in which one of their attorneys responds to yet another altercation arising out of the Pfizer incident. This evidently took place in front of the Conrad Hotel in Washington, D.C. I'm including their link in the description because even better than the video itself are the comments. Comment after comment after comment by users saying they are unsubscribing and that if James O'Keefe is gone, so are they. Make that so are we. And now I'm going to read this letter to you. Settle in, ladies and gentlemen, though you might want to have some soda water handy because frankly, I found this nauseating. So, with the warnings out of the way, here goes. Dear what's-your-name, we understand and share your frustrations. We all love and respect James and hope he returns. This is difficult for everyone. An independent two-dimensional audit is being arranged. Let me stop right here. Have any of you noticed that when somebody wants to hide the identity of a bad actor, they always use the passive voice? In case your teachers didn't tell you what that is, the passive voice expresses action that goes back to the subject and hides the agent. For instance, do you remember when Bush Jr. fired a bunch of judges? To excuse it, his staff said mistakes were made. Not the president made mistakes. Oh no, mistakes were made. That is the passive voice. So, to continue. An independent two-dimensional audit is being arranged to examine all of the issues, including those outlined below. 1. Breaking the bylaws of the organization by unilaterally dismissing the chief financial officer and co-opting another board member's vote by saying that board member supported the dismissal, which they did not. 2. Private inurement, it means self-dealing, / fiduciary responsibility, using donations for private benefit. The board included in its statement what it is aware of so far, which clearly warrants this internal audit to ensure that your hard-earned and graciously donated money is utilized appropriately. We hope to know more details around this soon. 3. Concern with employment laws and workplace safety regarding appropriate treatment of the employees was based in part on his interaction with senior staff in a leadership call on January 31st, 2023. Staff across multiple departments were ready to leave PV immediately if his conduct remained unaddressed. Project Veritas has had 140 employees leave the company over the last 7 years, some through their own volition, others were terminated. There's that passive voice again. And the organization has incurred legal expenditures because of some of these terminations and actions. 20 of the 140 employees were in management positions, leading to potential succession plan issues to assure the long-term viability of the company. James' removal was not a removal. He specifically said he did not resign, and the board did not fire him. The board placed him on a temporary suspension until the audit was completed. The board wanted him to delegate management of staff to the department heads so that he can focus his true talent, efforts, and best use of his time on the journalism and stories and less on the day-to-day personnel management. He has been invited, by whom? But has chosen not to engage in conversations with the board and management following steps taken so far with the goal of returning to Project Veritas. Instead, he requested no change in authority and that most of the officers and all of the board of directors immediately resign. For what it's worth, there are more than 60 of us here at PV who remain passionately dedicated to James' mission. It is what brought all of us together. While we cannot control online narratives and unfortunately cannot chime in to individually defend ourselves in the public sphere at present, we can assure you we remain steadfast and determined to expose corruption. The mission and our work continue. We just released the following this afternoon, and here they give the link to the YouTube video I mentioned. The title, Veritas Attorney Responds to Pfizer Security's Use of Force Toward PV Journalists. We hope that you might continue to give us a chance. We can't stress how separate the board's role is from daily operations here at PV. We are still guiding and pursuing stories of great public importance. In either case, thank you so much for your support in the past, and we hope we might regain your trust if you'll give us a chance in Veritas, the Project Veritas team. Ladies and gentlemen, of all the insufferably presumptuous letters I have ever had the misfortune to receive, This is the worst. I'm going to give you my belly full in a minute, but first, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You are not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, let's get to that letter. Love and respect. Hope he returns. Your executive editor calls an emergency meeting of the board to strip Mr. O'Keefe of his position, authority, everything but his pay. You notify him of this by cell phone after he has just stepped aboard an airliner that is about to leave the gate. And the actions will be completed even before his plane lands at his destination. Then, you solicit a whining collection of trivial gripes from staff who send in anecdotes like, "He took my sandwich out of my hand and ate it." You then leak that deliberately to drum up sympathy for yourselves and pour contempt on him. And then, you summon him to a meeting that goes on for 6.5 hours, during which meeting you have people parading into the boardroom to recite their trivial gripes and even start talking about James O'Keefe's social dates in front of donors. Those most emphatically are not acts of love or respect. And then you double down on your accusations. Now, to those of you with good heart, I've left a link in the description to Project Veritas' statement of the board of directors that they got out after Benny Johnson released James O'Keefe's 45-minute video that he did in his office to some really close friends. I don't know who got that video out to Mr. Johnson. I might never know, but that's the timeline. So let's go over those 3 accusations. Firing Tom O'Hara, we now know that he was one of the chief conspirators against O'Keefe. And I told you already about what I think of your self-dealing charges. $250,000. You accuse a man of self-dealing to that extent when he brings in $22 million that same year, and he makes almost twice as much in salary as you think that he self-dealt? And do you mean to tell me that after one conference call, a bunch of people are ready to quit? To such whiny kids, and I say kids because that's how they're acting, I say goodbye, good riddance, and don't let the door hit you in the derriere on your way out. Which is exactly how I would expect any boss to treat me in my day if I made such a disgusting display as this. Next, about your staff turnover. I just ran the numbers. 20 employees a year for 7 years. And succession plans, listen, if you can't update a succession plan within a day of someone leaving whose name appears in that plan, you're not doing your job. Simple as. And who did the invitation? Well, if you look at the statement, it was the board, or so they say. But wait, the board, according to James O'Keefe, forbade him to converse with anyone at the company. Now, since that would be a board resolution, the board's minutes should reflect that. Yes, I know the board denies it. All right then, let's see the minutes. Let's see who's lying here. Is it Mr. O'Keefe or is it the board? And Bethany Rolando. On one thing, everyone agrees. Mr. O'Keefe, terrifically angry with the board for their treatment of him, and I would be too, sent them an ultimatum. In words of 1 or 2 syllables, his letter translates as, either all of you go or I go. They wouldn't go, so he went. And as I read in my newsletter feed, many other staff are ready to go out with him. That's the board's problem. And they know they have a problem with donors because their Twitter account lost followers and James O'Keefe's Twitter account picked up most of those. And what do you call their closing paragraph? Give us a chance in Veritas. The Project Veritas team. Ladies and gentlemen, in the immortal words of Douglas Rain, the voice of Hal in Stanley Kubrick's most famous movie, I'm sorry, Bethany, I'm afraid I can't do that. Judgment in this sordid affair comes down, as is often the case, to credibility of the parties and witnesses. From where I sit, Project Veritas destroyed their credibility by lending credence to an allegation of maltreatment of a donor, an allegation the donor herself refuted. Andy No tweeted out her interview with Dinesh D'Souza and her husband's email, both refuting the allegation. I have a link to that tweet in the description. And I'd like to quote you the line from the Aesop's fable of the boy who cried wolf. Liars are not believed forsooth, even when liars tell the truth. Unquote Aesop. What I find more incredible than anything else is this. The board seemed ready to stand by the initial allegation even after they knew the donor had refuted it. And in fact, one report I had tells me they actually called those people liars. And cited, along with the whining collection of trivial gripes and allegations of self-dealing that amount to a trifle, even in comparison to Mr. O'Keefe's likely annual salary, much less to the money he brings in. More to the point, everyone knows that James O'Keefe is Project Veritas. Libby Emmons tweeted that out a week after the suspension happened, and I have the link in the description. Yes, James O'Keefe is Project Veritas, or was. Now that James O'Keefe is out, Project Veritas is no more. Despite any statement to the contrary, this is a company that has already gone under. No different in spirit from a dead man walking. But a resurrection of a sort will occur. Call it Project Urim, as I suggested 2 days ago, or maybe Project Phoenix. Links in the description of the article to the tweet containing a copy of the begging letter, to Jack Posobiec's tweet linking to his article, to that video about the Pfizer incident, to the statement by the board of directors, to Andy No's tweet of the refutation of the donor mistreatment allegation, to Libby Emmons' tweet observing that James O'Keefe is Project Veritas, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account, and to Conservative News and Views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursewerlines.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and links to my Project Veritas debacle playlist, to that video from at the Conrad Hotel, and to a video from one other influencer who emphatically agrees with me about this galactically stupid letter. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.